The Biden administration on Tuesday quadrupled its tariff on China's electric vehicles from 25% to 100%. The excuse, the so-called overcapacity, which is completely misleading claim because green industry capacity is what the world desperately needs to combat climate change. When China, with a forward-thinking mindset to tackle the climate change crisis, started many years ago to develop its green industry capacity, build up economics of scale, efficient supply chains, lowering the cost of solar panels, electric vehicles, and batteries, what was America doing? It waged wars around the world, trying to overthrow governments and running up a massive debt, according to renowned U.S. economist Jeffrey Sachs. The U.S. even pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement for 4 precious years, undercutting global efforts to fight climate change. Now, it uses this so-called overcapacity to smear China's advanced green industry capacity and alleges that China is massively subsidizing its industries. But even American radio journalists asked Yellen, are they subsidizing more than we are because we're pouring billions? And Yellen's response epitomizes a glaring double standard.
And what we don't want to see is massive Chinese subsidies to firms with huge overcapacity that will just drive our firms out of business.
The Biden administration resort to protectionism sets a very bad example for the world. Imposing restrictions on trade would diminish the efficiency gains from specialization, limit economies of scale, and reduce competition. According to calculations by the IMF, an extreme trade fragmentation scenario with a limited ability of economies to adjust, losses could be as high as 7% of global GDP. And one of the immediate casualties is global public goods, notably those relating to efforts to combat climate change. The United States, on one hand, shows its undercapacity in dealing with the crisis, while on the other, hampers other countries' efforts and smears others. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen even said she hopes China doesn't mount a significant trade retaliation. In the 1980s, Japan's auto industry was booming and was threatening American car industry. After pressure from the U.S., Japan agreed to a voluntary export restraint program. The U.S. may hope China now becomes the next Japan, which is very funny because China is not Japan.